and happy Moon Day. This is Claudia of Moon Powered Astrology on August 28th, 2023. And a new week is ahead of us, and the cosmos are rocking. I tell you, there's all kinds of movement going on. We're going to be talking about that. We're building to a full moon on Wednesday. So, yeah, there's a lot to focus on. And I'm going to try to stay on track here. We had a hurricane that turned into a tropical storm, and that was an event. So if you missed me last week, a couple of you checked in and told me you missed me. It's nice to know, to know that. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and I'm probably going to change the format because it's not reaching a very wide audience, and I hope to have more. So if you are so inclined, please share me, comment, like me, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. The subscribership is growing on Facebook, so I'm going to be checking in more often, doing pop-ups. Hello, Juanita. Hello. Good morning. And so if you're here, let me know. I'm love it when you're on the live stream with me. And otherwise, if you're watching the replay, leave a comment there too. Yeah. So we're going to start off with the heart drop because that centers me and you and connects us to the cosmos. Yes, your heart chakra, your heart center is your connection to the cosmos. So palms up in your lap, feet on the floor, and begin to see and just be aware of your breath as it comes and goes. Inhale through your nose. Exhale a little longer through your mouth. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Feel the surface you're sitting on support you. And feel your next breath coming from below the soles of your feet. All the way up, welcoming the prana, the life force from source, as it fills every one of those trillions of cells in your body and enlivens them. Yes, they're dancing with life force. And on the next breath, as you now know that your belly is moving, put your hand on your belly. If it's not moving, you want to be breathing fully. You got to breathe fully to live fully. Just feel that deliciousness all through your body, to the tips of your fingers, the top of your head. And as the breath reaches the top of your head, white light pours down through your whole body, cleansing away any negativity, anything that keeps you from being right here, present in this moment, safe in the field of source that's the truth of your being. On the next breath, as that white light pours down, feel your consciousness, that monkey mind stuff, move down behind your facial mask, through your neck and throat, down through your chest, coming to rest in your heart. And you can put your fingers right on your heart center if that helps. Sometimes that brings you right into the physical awareness of your heart. And breathe in and out through your heart. Belly still moving. And now on the next inhalation, beautiful rosy rays fill your heart with self-love. You are a magnificent expression of source. There's nobody like you now, before, ever. Feel the awareness of your magnificence, filling your heart with self-love, all 4 chambers. And now a beautiful emerald ray comes to join that rosy ray, the emerald ray of heart healing that also opens your heart to love again. You've had an opportunity while Venus has been retrograde to look at love in your life. Loving yourself, loving others. And now that energy moves through your whole body. Beautiful rosy and emerald rays filling your whole body with heart, love, energy. And now that energy moves through your skin, filling the field around you and moves out into your environment so that the inner and outer worlds you're experiencing are filled with love, self-love and love. Your own personal love revolution in this time of awakening. Another breath. Exhale and open your eyes and come back to be with me. So there will be a replay of this on Facebook and YouTube. And also, I will be next Saturday on the 2nd of September. I will be joining Sandra and Alan on Twin Flame Divine Fire for a podcast that I do usually monthly. They've had extreme heat. We've had extreme weather. And so we've been trying to schedule this for a month. So it will happen next Saturday. So watch for that link on Facebook. And I hope you'll join us. It's always a good time with them. We have fun. We laugh and trip our way through the cosmos. So right now, today, the moon is in Aquarius. It just moved in at 7:31 a.m. And so that's the freedom-loving rebel of the zodiac. The challenge with the Aquarius moon is to watch for being too opinionated, trying to control through your ideals. But the high side is community, friends, and with Mercury retrograde, yes, it is since last Wednesday, and it will be retrograde in Virgo, a sign it rules until September 15th. So you may find that the trickster has really been afoot in your life. Let me know if the trickster has been playing with you. I find it's been playing with technology a lot. And of course, there's the divine messenger aspect too, which I always aim for and reach for and welcome. So this evening, Uranus moves in retrograde motion. And the outer planet, the only one, we've got Pluto retrograde. Now Uranus is moving retrograde, and Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So it's that higher mind of awakening and connection. And because it's an outer planet, it connects us to those realms of eternity beyond our physical world. So with Uranus retrograde, until the 27th of January in 2024. And the outer planets, or modern planets as they're called, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are retrograde about 6 months of the year. This happens every year, different times, but it's usually the summer through the fall, which is what's happening now. And this is a time of rectification. Is the chaos going to stop? No, because chaos is creative. And we are in an extremely creative time as we create and affirm the new earth. But we're in the gibbous phase of the moon. So we're building up, we're polishing our progress. And we've got this retrograde happening. Uranus rules electricity, lightning, surprises, shocks, sudden upsets. And now as it moves retrograde, we have an opportunity to look at the timeline that we established and look at where it might need to be rectified. And what other things, habits, patterns, thoughts need to be rectified in our world. We may have had some major upsets, apple carts upsetting in our lives. And so, we get to look at what's the gift in this. And one of my teachers said that one time when I was going through a health crisis, to always ask, what's the gift in this? It's so powerful. And then, of course, allow the answer to come through. Allow some silence. And as we move through this autumn, especially as we move into September, and Jupiter moves in retrograde motion, we are going to be encouraged to move more and more inward to connect with spirit in this 7-year. So, this can be a rebellious retrograde time with Uranus retrograde, rebelling against society, rebelling against the dictates of others, especially with that South node in Libra right now. And it's, Uranus, it's an outer planet. It moves slowly. So it's really asking you to review, to be aware of, and to incorporate what you are awakening to. What does that mean for you? What are the breakthroughs that you have made or want to make? It's a really good thing to focus on while Uranus is retrograde. It's not a personal planet. We have the first of the 7 or 8, if you include Chiron, personal planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then Chiron, which is the Rainbow Bridge. So the planets that are outer have to do with collective messages, collective mandates, just as the nodes, the lunar nodes also are collective, a collective soul mandate. And so go with the flow is a big one, and ground yourself. Uranus retrograde asks you to really look at how you can incorporate more grounding into your life, so you're not just a live wire sparking out there, but you have to ground electricity, or what happens, right? And we've had a lot of these upsets, because that's what Uranus brings, so that we will awaken. And it reminds us, while it's retrograde, that oftentimes, because it's slow and inexorable in a way, we don't know what an accident or an upset or an earthquake, so to speak, is about. What is it supposed to awaken us to? And this is why taking inward time to allow the answers to filter down, to allow that silence. I know I had a friend text me this morning that she's going through a crisis of grief, but she loved sitting outside with her coffee and watching the sunrise. We have those 2 magnificent shows every day at sunrise and sunset. And we're all holding Hawaii in prayer, Canada, where there are fires, here in the desert, where we've got a huge cleanup that in some places is going to take over a year. And there's hurricane heading toward Florida. So there are a lot of natural disasters, so to speak, happening that are waking us up to the fact that there's one of us here to bond with humanity in love and safety, and the principle of harming none, and not allowing politics, religion, not allowing our own choices to harm others or to keep us from loving. Withholding love is one of the goals sometimes of the authoritarian principles afoot in our lives. And with Pluto moving retrograde through Capricorn, we're really getting to look at all of that. And where do you try to control? Where do you try to control others, control your environment, as opposed to using this time of retrogrades, 7 now, to move inward and to rise? It's a time of ascension. And the fuel for that is love. Love without limits. Letting judgment go. Discernment. Mercury retrograde in Virgo. Virgo is about discernment. So that's something to remember as we go through this time of Mercury retrograde. Of course, there are 2 weeks of shadow, as it's called, on either side of Mercury retrograde. So you may have felt that things have been running amok in some ways. The trickster's been afoot in your life since the 3rd of August, because that is when we entered shadow. And then at the end of September, we will move out of shadow. So I'm going to talk about this Mercury retrograde just briefly. Purification is one of the things that Virgo rules. It also has to do with digestion. It has to do with Mercury has to do with the central nervous system and the lungs. So breathing, mindful breathing is a practice every day and every time you think about it. Heart drop. I felt the difference right there, right? Yeah. So that's a tool that you can do very quickly with a breath throughout your day. Because if you're in your heart, you're present. The only point of power is in the present moment. We have been programmed over millennia to not be present, to be trying to be concerned about the past, and worry is one of the downsides of this Mercury retrograde. So hop off the worry, go round, because worry focuses on what you don't want. And you're a creator, and there are no idle thoughts or words or actions. So be present. Feel your feet. Calm your nervous system with the breath. It can also be hypercritical. So watch where you have that tendency. Where you have the tendency to to be hypercritical, go into analysis paralysis, or figure life out rather than living it. With Mercury retrograde and the higher octave of Mercury retrograde as of tonight, Uranus, we're really asked to look at the power of our minds and our consciousness and to be aware that everything is conscious. And that's where connecting with the natural world can be so beneficial. You know, the thing of hugging a tree, that's not idle. Have you ever leaned on a tree and just felt the vibration? It's awesome, isn't it? Yeah. And that's there for you. The tools are all around you to get you through this time, to ground you. So where are you a rebel? Where are you a rebel with a cause, and where are you a rebel without a cause? It's a good thing to look at when Uranus is retrograde, and to look at the choices you made while it was direct, especially with these squares that we've had with these, the new and full moons, and the Aquarius full moon last month. What is the cause that you are a rebel, that you were stepping away from the old programming for? And what's the new paradigm? What's the vision? Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, it's the visionary of the zodiac, and that's where the moon is for the next 2.5 days until 6:56 a.m. on Wednesday, when the moon moves into Pisces in preparation for a full moon at 6:35 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time that night. Again, 6:35 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Wednesday evening. The moon will be full, and it's a super full moon at 7 degrees of Pisces, opposite 7 degrees of Virgo, which is where the sun will be shedding its light, popping awarenesses, and giving you that incredible time of release that every full moon brings. So we will get to this full moon is united very closely with Saturn. At noon on Wednesday, the alignment is exact. And then later, it's at 3 degrees, because Saturn's retrograde. It's at 3 degrees, and the full moon is at 7 degrees. So with this conjunction, it's a reality check. So look back to the new moon on the 20th of February. That's when the moon was new in Pisces. And it asked you what dream you wanted to make real. That's what we've been looking at this year. And how are we going to make our dream of life on planet Earth real? And Saturn is the reality meister of the zodiac. It points out the limitations we've been feeling. And in Pisces, it points out where we may be deluded or living in a world of illusion. And remember, I've said this before, we are being told to slow down, to speed up. The speed up starts in 2024. Even though it may feel like we're in it now, this is the divine synchronicity and blessing of the cosmos that, it's like the speed builds up. But this full moon at 7 degrees reflects the fact that we are in a 7-year universally. 2023 adds up to a 7. And you can add your month and day of birth and the 7 to find out what year you're in personally. But collectively, according to the Western calendar, we are in a 7-year. So this emphasizes that inwardness of the 7-year. And as we celebrate this full moon, remember that one of the things with Neptune in Pisces right now, much farther away, it's like, it's at a later degree, magic is afoot. And so if you work some tools, especially opening your pineal, one of the things that Pisces rules, it rules the feet, the lymphatic system is ruled by Neptune, and the pineal gland also. Hi, Sandra and Alan. Thanks for checking in. And so this is a full moon to really commit to decalcifying your pineal gland, because it is the key. It has been blocked. And one of the things that blocks it, just FYI, is fluoride. There's fluoride in the water, so be sure you're drinking a pure source of water. And it's challenging to get these chemicals out. A Brita filter doesn't do it. And so, be sure you have a good source of water and that you're not using toothpaste or anything else that has fluoride in it. I know oftentimes the dentist will offer a fluoride treatment. It's like, what are you kidding? No. So I detoxed from fluoride about, it was in the 80s. I became aware with Hannah Kroger, who was a famous herbalist in Boulder, and I was working in Denver, and I did a spit test, and she told me I needed to detox from fluoride. If you have kind of a bit of mucus or something in your throat all the time, that can be a clue. But it calcifies your pineal gland, and that is huge. So there are wonderful, wonderful videos on YouTube that can talk to you more about that. But that's your third eye, and it has so many functions that relate to awakening and being awakened. So you want to decalcify that. And most of us have had that experience with fluoride and other chemicals in our lives that have calcified it. So it's right there. And you can do your heart drop. And as you're doing the original part of it, breathing, you can roll your eyes up to your third eye as you go up to the crown and let that white light pour down through. But this is a full moon that's about that awareness that we are human, or spirit, having a human experience rather than the other way around, that the truth of our being is source, the field of all consciousness, all creative substance of the universe. That's who we are. And so at the time of this full moon, look at where there are illusions, delusions. Ask how to manifest your dreams. I've mentioned before the fact that we're being asked to take everything step by step. So ask for that step. It's a really good thing to do your visualization, your feelization before bed, before you go to sleep, because Pisces and Neptune rule the land of dreams. So really be aware of your dreams. Keep a dream journal. If you don't, it might be just a couple of words. There may be times when some of you have told me that you're not dreaming and you're not sleeping well. So see what you can do about that. That has a lot to do with too much technology. I turn everything off at night. I have a surge protector and I just turn it all off. And I was amazed when I first did that at the level of silence, that there was a little bit of like static that went on that I wasn't even aware of till I started just turning it all off. But that blue light, that light that comes from screens, will definitely disturb your sleep. So just be aware of that. And of course, full moons are a culmination. They ask, what have you manifested regarding turning your dreams into reality? Are you caught in victimhood? Do you have anything that tells you that suffering is a virtue or that it's necessary in your life? We all have pain in our lives, but suffering is the prolongation oftentimes of the ego. And we were taught, many of us, that suffering was a virtue. Right? Yeah, it's not a very high frequency. Pain, honoring grief, things like that, absolutely necessary. But the prolongation is a value that is no longer valid, if it ever was. I don't think it ever was, but it was something that happened in people's lives when they didn't have the modern conveniences that we have. I'm assuming that everyone listening to me has food, a roof over their head, and clothing. Yeah. And so if that's the case, one of the things that always brings us into the present, if we're out there, is to appreciate. Put your hands on your bed. Put your hands on your desk, on your pieces of furniture, on your dishes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. And everything is working for me all the time. So what does it mean to be spirit having a human experience for you? Where are you feeling your limitations? Where do you want to concretize your dreams? Do you know what your dream is? Take time under this full moon to see if it's the same dream that you had in February. What's changed? Because remember, the eclipse in May that was at 29 degrees of Taurus told you you had to do things differently. And Uranus being in square to the lunations that have been happening underscores that. You've got to think radically out of the old box and listen for the messages. With all these retrogrades, the messages are coming through. So listen for them. One of the things I wanted to mention was a tool for Mercury retrograde and for these retrogrades. I mentioned that Mercury rules the central nervous system. And as we come to this full moon conjunct Saturn, we may feel really pressed. And Saturn can also engender depression. And, they say that depression, I love Jim Carrey's definition of that. Depression is a need for deep rest. That's what these retrogrades are asking us to do, to take some deep rest, to allow ourselves to step into the silence. And one of the things that can calm you, that can be a silent ally as we go through this time, are mudras, because Virgo rules the hands, among other things, right? So one of the things that rules the digestion, I mentioned that, the upper alimentary canal and the upper intestines. And so a good mudra for digestion is to take, I believe it's, hold on. I want to make sure I get this right for you. You take these two fingers, middle and your ring finger, and pull them towards your palm with your thumb. Do that for about 5 minutes. Hi, Elisa. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. And just hold that. You can hold it at your heart level, like this. Yeah, there we go, like that, to help aid in your digestion. Another one is that's very powerful for success and focus is to put your fingers together, your index fingers touching, and your thumb touching. So it looks like this. Hold that at your heart level for success and focus. Thing that's really interesting, I saw a picture recently of Putin and of Elon Musk sitting in meetings, and they had this for focus and success. They just sat there with this mudra. So those are two mudras, and there are some wonderful videos on YouTube about mudras, but I encourage you to explore the world of mudras so that you have a silent ally as we go through these times. It calms and enhances the dielectric body, as it's called, and it really blends ancient wisdom and science together, because there's been a lot of scientific studies on how effective this is at managing our electrical fields, right? And that's Uranus, electricity. So as it's retrograde, so with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, ruling the hands, and Uranus moving retrograde tonight, electricity, mudras, a wonderful way to stay centered. And there are many, many of them. So you will find the ones that suit you. But digestion and that calming and success and focus, two really good ones. So remember that full moons are for wishing or for checking your manifestation, really. I've moved out of the I wish for into I now manifest. And so, full moons are the checkpoint where you look back to the new moon, and you look back to the new moon 2 weeks ago and the new moon on the 20th. And I hope you're journaling. If you're journaling with the moon, then, you can look back. You're living more deliberately. You're aware of your process. It's so, so powerful. And it's a really easy way to, to keep track of what's going on in your consciousness and what you're creating. It's your journal is a personal thing. It's just you and you talking about where you are at a particular time on planet Earth. And if you journal with the moon, every 3.5 days, the moon changes phases. So if you can at least make an entry, I try to journal every morning. I just find that it starts my day, because I end up with gratitude. I finish with gratitude, which is the fertile soil in which every intention is planted, every wish, every goal. So as I've mentioned before, the full moon is a big release point in the cycle as the energy shifts from waxing, outward, active, building, growing light and activity to waning as the light diminishes and we move ever more inward. And so writing down what you want to release. What's your dream? What is what is the dream that you are aiming to live right now with your thoughts, words, and actions? And just write your release on a piece of paper. Might be 2 sides. I tend to start now in the gibbous phase and keep my list all the way up to the full moon. And then you write down what you want to manifest. So it is like a wish, but it's more direct. It's like, I now manifest. I now wish. And then you make it as concise as you can. So you may want to do a brain dump where you write it out and then get it down to a concise sentence. And then you go into your sacred space. You've created your sacred space with, like I've got some Nag Champa incense burning right now and a candle. It just tells your whole being that you are now focusing on being in this sacred space. Of course, your whole life is sacred space, but this just really draws your attention to it. And so then you burn what you're releasing. And you don't make a copy of it. Somebody asked me that one time. No, you don't make a copy of it. You just burn it. And as the smoke rises, you see that smoke almost like sticky stuff grabbing all the manifestation of all that you're releasing, taking it right out of your cells, right out of your life, every parsec of your existence, back to its native nothingness. Aho. And then you move into meditation and you visualize, and you can look up at your third eye and visualize in living technicolor what it looks like to have that which you are affirming manifest right now. And then you exhale and drop into your heart. And you feel with every fiber of your being what it feels like to have that manifestation occur right now. It should feel really good. I mean, your dream come true, right? And if Saturn comes and tells you of blockages and limitations and why it can't happen, put your hands on your belly and make a noise with an exhale. Wah! And just let that negative dream stealer move right on out. It's a very powerful technique. Move that on out and then move back into your feelization. Pisces is a water sign, and therefore it has to do with emotions. It's the most emotionally sensitive sign of the zodiac. And so you may find that that's really true at the time of this full moon. And so your feelization, because water has to do with emotions, and you are over 70% water, most of us. So your feelization is going to be extremely powerful. And what you're doing is you are establishing that frequency in your body and in your life. And that means that it is when the frequency is established and it moves through you and on out, it's a done deal. It's the dream stealers that can get in your way and the old habits and patterns. And the full moon oftentimes brings up that shadow. So watch for that. And then after you've done your meditation, any messages that come through, and Pisces, because of the pineal gland and Neptune connection, the messages may really be strong and your dreams may be really strong under this full moon. So be sure to take note. Be sure to be aware of that. Yeah. There's a song by BTS that says, "We Are the Dreamers." Actually, it's by Jun Cook, if I'm saying his name right, of BTS, which is my favorite boy band. So check it out if you have it. They always make me smile. And the song says that basically they believe, if you believe it, you dream it, you believe it, and it's real. So you might check out that song as a theme song for this upcoming full moon. Thursday, we got the last day of August. And Mercury retrograde is going to be opposite the moon in Virgo about midday. So, yeah, the moon will be in Pisces, sorry. So Mercury retrograde will be opposite the moon in Pisces about midday. So you may see where so you've got the most physically sensitive sign of the zodiac, Virgo, and that's why it also has to do with your daily life. So with this retrograde, you're getting to really look at your daily life, the habits and patterns that you may have made breakthroughs regarding with the recent aspects to Uranus, but you'll get to look more at that with Uranus retrograde. Are you taking care of your physical health and your mental, emotional, and spiritual health? This is the health axis, Pisces and Virgo. So you're going to get to take a look at that on midday on Thursday as we move through the last day of the month. And then on Sunday, Venus moves direct. Venus has been retrograde since July 22nd. And if you have really looked at your finances and your relationships and taken stock of your core values during this time that Venus was retrograde, if you've really looked at that, now you can move forward with more confidence that you'll reap the rewards of what you've done. And you may find that it has been a slim time, that things haven't been moving forward as you would like. But, Venus moving forward is good news if you've done the work. And Mercury in Virgo has to do with practicality and efficiency. So it asks you, are you being practical? Or are you giving into the negative side of Jupiter in Taurus, which says more, more, more? How much do you need? You have a cord of energy to everything that you own. So make sure that the things that you have around you are useful and cherished, that they're precious to you, that they mean something. And it's really good to clear out your past with your stuff too, because of course, Virgo is the organizer of the zodiac. And it's all about harvest time, the first harvesting what's happened throughout this year. And, looking at the stuff that you've harvested on all these levels. But your health, again, is mental, emotional, is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. You want to address all these levels. And this Venus moving forward emphasizes that. And it asks you, what your plan is. What's the step that you're going to take? I know one of the things I'm going to be introducing as time moves on is something called Cosmic Conversations. And that'll be something that I'll offer a subscription to. And then we will take topics and relate them to your own personal chart. So that's going to be coming up. And if that's something that interests you, drop a note to me and let me know, yeah, wow, that spun my wheels. So, because I want to know what I can offer that really, really does spin your wheels and help you navigate through these times, rock those rhythms. And of course, I'm available for readings, and I'm doing snapshot sessions for $99. And that's something that's been really helpful for people. So if you have an issue, I call it the urgency of now. Let me know, message me if you'd like a reading. I believe the link on my readings, the readings link is working. If it's not, let me know. And then of course, a full reading, which is the best thing, because we can really do a deep dive into how all of these, things, planetary movements affect you and how you can navigate for your highest good and greatest joy during these evolutionary times. So as we move through the week, as we move to Sunday, we're going to have Venus moving direct. Will be in September 3rd. And at that point, next week kicks off with Jupiter moving in retrograde motion. And so that actually is it gives us an opportunity to connect even more with spirit, to hear those messages and the ascended masters coming through with messages for us. And it also asks us, where we have expanded, where we're expanded in too many directions that are keeping us scattered. That's also one of the challenges of Mercury retrograde and Uranus retrograde, both of them, feeling our mental energy scattered. So remember the mudras, right? Yeah. This one, I just love this one. You can just sit with this one. I love the fact that it has to do with enhancing our electrical body to connect with success. That's a perfect thing as Venus moves forward, right? So I hope that this has been helpful. Be sure to go out and look at the full moon. It's going to be, some say, the biggest and the brightest of the year, this full super moon. And work your stuff, work your tools. You're all creators. You're all light workers. And one of the things that Dolores Cannon, one of the 5 signs of a light worker that she talks about, is optimism. Being that eternal optimist in the face of those who would say, especially with this full moon conjuncting Saturn, the realist of the zodiac, I'm a realist, and they go into conspiracy and negativity. And wow, that's your dream? That's what's fueling your dream? Fuel your dream with that massive amount of self-love, that well of love that you are fueling in your life. I'm going to fuel it right now. Thanks for joining me, because I'm going to tell you, as I always do, thank you so much for being here. And I love you to the moon and way beyond. Have a beautiful week rocking the rhythms.